Hello and welcome to Scottish Football Matters with myself, Lorenzo, and my good friend Murray.
All right, how's things?
Not bad. Tonight we are going to be discussing the title race again as it takes another twist. Celtic lose at Tannadice and Rangers and Hearts both get victories in their respective matches against Aberdeen and Hearts. Who did they play again?
Dundee.
Aye. So, and also we'll be discussing the full weekend's Premiership card, amongst other things, before the end of the show. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Yeah. I suppose best place to start is the relegation stuff. I suppose let's start at probably the surprise result in the bottom half was St Mirren winning at Falkirk. I think there's a couple of points to make in this game. Barney Stewart's got another first time finish, good goal.
He's looking good.
I think he's one to watch. I thought St Mirren's equaliser was obviously good from Freckleton. There's a wee bit of debate about the winner. What did you think? Do you think there was a foul? Because I could see that Gogic potentially does foul Lisa.
Yeah.
Which might have an impact on his ability to defend.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm always one that likes to see goals scored. And I don't know if there was enough contact to go down. But at the same time, if that was my team losing a goal and my defender didn't get an opportunity to defend it, I'd probably be quite raging.
Oh, of course, aye.
But for St Mirren, they maybe needed a wee bit of luck because they've maybe not had much down there. And it's brought everything back together. Because when we talk about other results, obviously it's combined with Kilmarnock's win, it's brought them now 3 points behind Aberdeen and 5 behind Dundee. I don't think Dundee will get dragged into it, but it's worth noting that obviously Dundee have got Celtic next, and I think they've got Kilmarnock actually on the final game before the split. So you're like, so if they were to lose to Celtic and lose at Rugby Park, all of a sudden they're
in it,
right in it. And I wouldn't have said that a few weeks ago. I thought Dundee were...
No, they were doing all right.
But I have to say that the poorest team look at Aberdeen, but we'll get on to that more when we talk about the title race. But we talk about St Mirren really did well to grind out a win. And I think we need to praise the interim manager, McLeish, because I think a lot of times when people come in, they try and reinvent the wheel. But he hasn't done that.
He's kept it
and don't
probably
get me wrong,
similar to Stephen Robinson. He's kept it similar.
Yeah, let's be honest, they didn't play well last week against Rangers, right? But they stayed in the game. And all they're taking is like a slip or a set piece, and they could have got something out of it. And I felt like they adopted that mentality at Falkirk as well, just stay in the game. And you have to say that any side that comes back from a goal down when they're in that kind of relegation mire, I think it's admirable because we think it's hard to play with the pressure at the top. I reckon it's probably just as bad, if not worse, playing at the bottom because you're talking about livelihoods. You're talking about and people always think about just the players, right? Players can go get another club, but sometimes it's the people within a club, like the people in reception, the people in hospitality, the cleaners, all of that, and you're playing for sometimes a full club, a community. And I think that
a town, a city, who knows?
St Mirren on the back of obviously winning a cup, and they're still in a cup, they're going to want to make sure they find a way out of this. And I've got to admit, I'm biased obviously because I'm from Paisley, and I want St Mirren to stay up. I like St Mirren. I think they're a credit to the league in terms of how they run their club. And let's be honest, if it's at Aberdeen's expense, I think I'd be chuffed. But
I don't want Aberdeen getting relegated. I certainly don't.
I'd be chuffed with that. I think it'd be hilarious.
Can they be getting one of our better teams out of the league? I mean, I know they're no good to know, but
it happened to Hearts, did it not? During COVID.
Happened to Hibs, I know.
But do you remember Hearts got relegated when that was the most unfair relegation of all time, though? because it's different awarding titles, like 2/3 of season through, but to relegate somebody, I thought that
So
was.
Do you think they should have just gave the title out that no relegated a team? They should have just kept it.
I think that it was the perfect opportunity to extend the league, but they failed in that regard.
They're not going to extend it. They're wanting to make it back to 10.
But no, I don't think you should be relegating clubs when it's not official.
And I suppose you're right.
Hearts will probably be laughing in their face right now because they potentially could win that trophy just 5 years later.
I know.
But what I would say, though, what my point isn't about Hearts, though. My point is that sometimes you need to go down to rebuild, to realise what you've got. And could you imagine, though, within 1 year going for winning a cup to playing the Championship?
I know.
Look at Tottenham in England.
Scary thought. I know they could get relegated as well. They could get relegated.
But all I'm going to say is fair play to St Mirren. Great result. Falkirk, obviously, will be a wee bit worried now because obviously the Dundee United result, but
I can't see Dundee United finishing the top 6.
They're still 6 points clear with something like a 7-goal swing. And I just think Falkirk's 2 games are Motherwell and Rangers, so there's no guarantee they pick up another point. And Dundee United's games are home to Livingston and obviously away to Rangers. Yep. Falkirk will be hoping Rangers do them a turn and at least get a point and then just end it. But it wouldn't, after seeing Dundee United yesterday, it wouldn't surprise me if they did their bit, let's just say, and kept going. But
see, Dundee United is a no. Dundee United, we've said this, they turn up. I mean, I know that we'll go on to the Dundee United Celtic game, but Dundee United for me just turn up when they feel like it. Yeah, it looks that way.
But I think, credit to St Mirren. I think we can move on to Kilmarnock Livingston. I think we can safely say now, right, Livingston are down.
They are, yeah.
They're 12 points behind 2 teams, 15 behind Aberdeen, and you're just running out of games.
That's it. It's finished.
But I think I feel bad for Bartley because I don't think he's done a bad job since he came in. But I don't think Martindale have done a bad job. I think, at least with Livingston, right, they didn't go old school Livingston and try to bully their way. They tried to play football. It didn't work. Like, that's a shame, right, to say that, because we should be lauding a team for trying to change how they've done things in the past. And I actually feel bad for them because in general, as a football story, even though I don't like the plastic pitch or any of that crap, but as a football story, in terms of seeing a team who were very direct, anti-football, they went to the Championship, which I was saying about Aberdeen, if it happens, and they just completely rebuilt a style. They tried to play football, and they've taken that into the SPL. And sometimes they've been unlucky. I mean, 12, I know, because they've got 12 draws playing good football, but all they needed was maybe 4 wins to get that total. And maybe that more pragmatic approach that they had previously, where it was play for set pieces, play for second balls, 50-50s, I think it got them more wins. But again, I think Livingston, I think they're going to just sort of become Scotland's Burnley. I think they're going to be a bit of a yo-yo team. But I don't mind seeing Livingston now and again. I always like it when you go to their ground and
as long as you get rid of the plastic pitch.
Aye, but you always like getting 3 stands at an away game. It's a mental atmosphere.
Aye.
But do you know what? I think if we move on to obviously Kilmarnock, I think this home form is what will get them out of trouble.
I think they'll get out of trouble.
Because I think I look at their last 2 games. They've got home to Dundee, the last game before the split. And I think they've got away to, is it Hibs maybe next? And I think they'll get pumped at Hibs and then they'll go and beat Dundee because it's just, they're so chalk and cheese in terms of the home and away form. But I did actually predict this one, didn't I? I said that Finlay Curtis would score. I felt he would take the Scotland call up. And I mean, as I said, for a young lad who getting into the Scotland team, having played a dozen football matches, it's mad. But he must have been walking on air. And he took it quite well, actually, because I think the ball across was a wee bit overhit.
Yep.
but he showed confidence to take it on his left side, and I thought it was a fully merited. What did you think of the red card though? Because I think this is completely wrong. There's no way that is a last man.
It's harsh. It's really very harsh, isn't it?
I mean, really he's tugged Curtis's shirt. I've no problem with being a free kick and a yellow card, but there's a Kilmarnock defender covering, and he's not like running back. He's not like 10 yards away over the pitch. He's right there. Curtis is going towards him. I mean, if we're given red cards, it's not for denial of. It's not meant to be a denial of a possible goal-scoring opportunity. It's meant to be obvious, and that isn't obvious. I'm sorry, but that
is not.
It was actually very similar to the one in the Celtic game. If Scales had been sent off for that, it'd have been a ridiculous thing. Because Tierney was there. It's as simple as that.
That's right.
But that just highlights the inconsistencies in Scotland.
We've seen two very similar. The referees are terrible.
Two very similar things. One's a red card. One's a yellow card. Now they should both be yellow cards. It's as simple as that. I don't want to see Scales getting sent off because two wrongs don't make it right. I don't want to see bad consistency. I want to see good consistency.
You don't want to do something and then even it up with doing something else exactly.
Something else stupid. But but I think Kilmarnock, fair play. They fully merited their win, and I think they've probably got 3 home games left this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they took 9 points.
They might.
And did enough.
I think they'll stay up. I don't think they'll get relegated.
No, I think they'll finish maybe 10th, 9th even.
And then hopefully they'll get rid of that horrible plastic pitch you've got as well.
Yep, it's only Falkirk that's allowed to keep theirs.
I know.
Because they just came up, they were allowed an extra year.
So Livingston getting rid of theirs even if they get relegated,
Yeah, I think partly, yeah. Right. But if we move on to, this is probably more of a race for 4th place. Motherwell Hibs. I think the offside goal was offside. I think when you look at the still image, I think he's heel. I think you can see it for the line of the 18-yard box. It is close, and I think Jens Bertolasko's right to ask the question about who is drawing the lines, though, because we just don't know. Because
exactly.
I reckon you've probably seen the one with Aberdeen and Celtic that looked like it was drawn by a toddler. You've seen the one, the Rangers St Mirren game, that honestly, I think they used a different
even
frame.
the lines in our game and Maeda scored the game that Celtic and Rangers played. So
the cup one, yeah.
The lines in that were terrible as well.
Yeah. I mean, I still thought that was probably John onside, but I still think I'm going by the naked eye, and I go that's onside. And I looked at Negrins at Aberdeen. I still claim that was offside because I'm using my eyes. I don't believe these lines. I don't. You know yourself. You watch a game and you go, he's off. He looks on, and I still think the lines are dodgy, and they were very dodgy in the Rangers St Mirren one last week. It didn't matter because it was the 90th minute. But Asgard, to me, he might have been offside, right? But he's been offside by a toe. But the line that they drew put him offside by about 2 yards. What the hell was that? I mean, we could all see it. We're like, well, that's close. Is his toe slightly in front? You go, fair enough. Offside's offside. But to put it on a frame and then go, he's there. It wasn't. He wasn't.
No chance.
I mean, I think Mikey Moore, the ball had already left his foot when they paused it. And you're like, Jesus. But back to I think it was a good point for Motherwell, even though some will say it isn't. Because if they're in a race for 4th place, they've got a 6 points gap with 7 to go. And if I'm totally honest, when they need to play the same teams, I think I can't see Hibs getting 6 more points than Motherwell against the Hearts, the Celtic, the Rangers. Sort of level of team.
Well, Celtic, the way they played yesterday, if they pull it out, they could lose again. I mean, I don't want to still lose again, but we could.
What I would say is Hibs would need to beat them to get a gap down to 3. And, they would need to hope that they did. I mean, by the way, I think Hibs could take something off Hearts in the derby because it's at Easter Road. So that might be an occasion where they could, but I just don't see them catching Motherwell.
No, I think Motherwell will finish 4th.
Yeah, But I think it's certainly interesting. It's good to have other battles because obviously we've got a three-way title race. You still want, I mean, by the way, Falkirk aren't out of the battle for European football because as much as we can say Hibs can catch Motherwell, Falkirk can catch Hibs.
That's right.
Because I think
Not
they're
that much
only
of a gap.
5 or 6 behind. So we're talking about, that it's still possible.
It's only 2 games though.
But I do think Falkirk's whole priority now is going to be beat Dunfermline, get to a cup final, and if they play Celtic or St Mirren, give it your best go.
Aye.
I actually think Falkirk right now have 2 games left this season. And they're both in the Scottish Cup.
Hopefully they don't. Hopefully Celtic can win that.
Because I reckon they've overachieved anyway. John McGlynn's done a great job. I know they're not going to just go, these games don't matter, we're putting out squad players, but I think if they get the cup final, I could see them putting out mixed teams after the split. But I don't think they'd just play a mixed team against Celtic and then play their best against Rangers. I think they would keep it fair. They would just chop and change throughout the games after the split just to, keep players fresh for the cup final. But by the way, let's not discount Dunfermline because
I know that
they're in their own battle, and I mean,
it just could be written in the stars. It could be a Martin O'Neill Lennon Cup final.
Could be. But it could also be a St Mirren Falkirk final.
I know.
I mean, I don't think it will be, but it could. So if we move on to the title race, we'll start with Hearts. I have to say, if I'm being totally honest, it was very Hearts.
The usual 1 goal lucky.
They weren't great. They definitely improved when Shanklin came on. You could see that wee bit of quality in the final third improved. And set piece goals still count. They're just like penalties. They all count. But what I would say is we spoke about Celtic scoring late goal, and we knew that the luck would run out. And we've seen, obviously, on Sunday that did.
Hearts doesn't seem to be.
No, but I think that Hearts' run of 1-0 wins, I think it will run out because I don't think you can do that. I mean, they've got 3 more home games, right? And the 3 home games are going to be Motherwell, Rangers, and must be Falkirk.
Is it? Well, they must have a game. They don't get any other games left against the bottom half of the league because obviously
I've got Motherwell before. The Motherwell before, then 1 before, then 2 after. They're like Rangers. They've only got 2 home games after the split, so they would have. And by the way, what I'm saying is, I don't think they'll beat Motherwell and Rangers because I just think the quality of teams go up. The teams that have beaten 1-0 are Aberdeen, Falkirk. Who was that last one?
I don't know. Can't remember now.
Sorry, Dundee. I'm trying to think of the other team they beat. But either way, maybe Livingston. Something like that. They won 4 in a row, 1-0. And but yeah, I think Hearts, you've got to give them credit because they are continuing to show what champions do. They're not champions yet.
No.
But they're showing all the signs of a team that could be.
Yeah.
But there's a long way to go because, as I said, all it takes is 1 win between Rangers and if Rangers beat Hearts, Rangers go ahead of them.
I know that. That's unthinkable. I don't want to think about that.
Well, I think you probably do want that result. If that brings everyone within 2 points, that's your ideal scenario.
No, I know, but I'd rather if we can't win the league, I'd rather Hearts win it. I don't want you winning it.
Of course you would, but we'll see what comes. But I don't think there's too much else to say about the Hearts game other than credit to them for grinding out another win, and they've obviously brought back Devlin and Shankland, and I think they've got a few more coming back, like Harry Milne, Halkett. So they're going to have a full squad, but I don't think that'll make much. I don't think it'll make a massive difference. I still think these games are going to be difficult. Shall we move on to Saturday night's game then? Rangers against Aberdeen.
Yep.
I just want to start by saying Aberdeen are the worst team in the league, right? In terms of the teams that I've seen Rangers play,
Right.
They are so open. They are.
He's got a lot. He's got a lot of work to do, hasn't he, Stephen Robinson? He's got a big
Yeah,
job
and
in
I
his
think
hands.
he'll do it, but I think he might need to do it. I mean, there's a potential that he's going to need to do it from the Championship.
Well, I would like to think not. I mean, I don't want to see Aberdeen getting relegated.
But I have to say, I think they look
Too big
right
a
now.
club to get in.
They
Too
look
big.
worse than St Mirren Kelly right now.
Our league can't afford to lose a team like Aberdeen.
I think
too big a club.
we've lost Rangers, we've lost Hearts, we've lost Hibs. We can certainly lose Aberdeen. Aberdeen are not as big as those teams.
Aberdeen have been relegated before, but it was a while ago.
No, they didn't get. Remember, they finished bottom and then they reconstructed the league to let them stay up.
Are you sure? I thought they get relegated now.
It was ridiculous. They just changed the rules to keep them up.
Right.
And it was the year before we went to 12.
Right.
But they should have went down and 3 came up. Not they just don't go down.
I know.
Ridiculous. But no, I think Aberdeen were terrible. I know they scored a goal, but it was a goal caused by Rangers. It was a badly pushed pass by Chukwani. But if we talk about the goals, and I thought Chukwani took his goal really well, but I think you have to highlight Romans' touch. The ball we're asking, Romans, I think Dylan Lobbin kind of switches off. He doesn't see Romans coming on the left-hand side, but his touch is brilliant. Cut back from Moore. Poor shot, actually, but I liked Chukwani's finish because lots of players would just put their foot through it or lash at it, but he just guided it, didn't he, into the corner. And, let's be honest, Rangers strikers don't score, so everyone else has to. So we need goals from Chukwani and obviously Moore, Raskin, Tavernier. But I thought Rangers probably should have been more than one up at half-time in terms of the balance of play. I thought they were much better. Second half, Aberdeen actually started quite well because they brought Olasanya on and he caused us more problems in terms of being able to hold up the ball. But in the moment of them holding up the ball, we actually take it off them and go and make it 2-0, which is a nice goal from Moore's perspective because he cuts inside really well and opens his body up for 2-0. So it was comfortable, and I honestly thought Rangers were going to go on and win 3-4-5-0. And then we go and do a Rangers thing, don't you? Where we overplay at the back. And I have to say, it's a lovely wee finish.
It was a good goal.
Giger, I thought it was a good finish. But what I liked about Rangers, and my main positive was that after our series of draws that we've had recently, when it went 2-1, they didn't panic. They just kept going, and they got a third, and then I think everyone just sort of went, that's fine. We'll talk about the fourth, and then we'll go back to the goal that got disallowed. But I think Tavernier's finish for the fourth is an excellent free kick. Keeper's position, a wee bit suspect, but
he can take them, can't he?
But I think the free kick's a great free kick. What did you think about the disallowed goal from Miovski? Because I think we can all agree, right? It's an absolute handball, right?
That is, aye.
But his arm is tucked into his chest. It's fired at him from about 3 yards. Can't exactly do anything about it. And I think they counted it was 20 seconds from that handball to the ball going in the net. And importantly, Connor Barron doesn't touch the ball again.
Right.
I think that's important in terms of.
We compared it to the Gogic one, didn't we?
Yeah, but we often see ones. Like, remember the Shanklin one at Ibrox where he handled the ball right, but Shanklin handled the ball and then took control of the ball, ran forward and scored. So that's why there was a big But Connor Barron doesn't involve himself in the game from that moment. It's an accidental handball. You wouldn't give a penalty for that. So, do you think we should be disallowing goals for that? Personally, 2 phases of free play later?
Well, they say, is it what phase of the play is it? It's the attacking phase of play. They always use it. They always go back a few frames.
Aberdeen player flicked the ball on, and then he had a chance to win a 50-50. Gastano was stronger. I think they had ample opportunity to get the ball back. The
debate is how far back do you go in an attacking phase of play to chop a goal off?
I know it doesn't matter, right? Because Rangers won the game, but I think if we're honest, I don't think anyone wants to see goals disallowed like that.
I don't like seeing goals getting disallowed in general because
But
you look like a fanny celebrating it when it gets chopped off. You know,
certainly
I hate
not.
celebrating the goal that gets chopped
what
off.
about Miovski as well? I mean, scoring against his old team, he's a striker that needs a goal, and you kind of feel bad for him because no, but you do. You feel bad for him because he done nothing wrong in the build up to the goal. He scores a lovely goal, but I don't want to see goals like that disallowed. But I understand why.
Let's face it, he's not set the head on fire since he went to Rangers anyway, has he? Really?
He hasn't. But I don't think he's been given a great run of games. If I'm honest,
he probably
you can. No,
has he
you can talk
the run
about
of games.
Has Chumiti?
No.
That's what I'd argue, is that Chumiti scored in 5 matches this season.
The only reason Chumiti's in front of him is because of the price tag, that's it.
Yeah, but that's not good enough. I want my strikers to score goals. And I can see everything in the dairy, apart from scoring goals, but at least I can see
that's a third division German striker, isn't it?
I still think there's a player there that will score goals because I can see he makes clever runs. I can see things. Chumiti just isn't a striker. He doesn't make clever runs. If anything, sometimes Chumiti makes runs away from the ball. He gets in the wrong area completely. Whereas Nadiri, you can go, okay, there's something there. Whereas you can probably compare it to your own strikers. Some of them just don't look like natural strikers.
They don't.
But I think
Chavanchara doesn't look like a. Well, what I will say in some of the, like say Adamu, he doesn't look as if he's a striker that can play up front himself. He needs a partner.
No. Yeah, no.
I'd say the same about Chavanchara as well. I think they're no lone strikers. They need a partner.
Yeah, and I think Miovski is somebody that needs to play in the two, and I'd like to see that too be with Nadiri. I'll be honest.
Some strikers that can play in up front themselves, but some of them really need partners up there.
But yeah, I think obviously, Rangers were under pressure because obviously Hearts won. It put the pressure on Rangers. Rangers won. It put the pressure on Celtic. And obviously, we can talk about that now. See if I'm totally honest, right? I'm going to get the first bit out of the way. Pitch was terrible, right?
It was like a sandpit.
But it was terrible for both teams. And Celtic were hopeless.
But then that's the thing is about the pitch. The pitch was terrible, but a decent Celtic side should be able to, or any decent football team should be able to go into that pitch and win a game of football.
I remember Celtic and Rangers teams going to the Motherwell pitch back in the day, remember, in the 2000s?
That was a horrible pitch, aye.
And we still won games.
I know.
But I felt that Celtic's just... Right, first thing I think we need to start with, right, is because we don't give Martin O'Neill a lot of criticism, right, because we understand that
I think the team selection was wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I think we do understand that he's an interim manager doing his best, right, with a shite squad of players. Mm-hmm. But his team selection was terrible. His subs were even worse. But, I think you can't start Ian Atchell unless you're going to start him. He's somebody I think should be playing in a two.
Aye.
I think if you started him and Adamu together, you might have got a little and large type partnership or, somebody to... I mean, there was one right in the first half where he's played a long ball up to... Ian Atchell, right? And he missed the ball, and so did the Dundee United defender. Mm-hmm. See if you had a second striker, they're probably running in behind expecting that flick on. And the ball just dribbles right through to the keeper.
Ian Atchell himself, see if Ian Atchell's played a lot more football than what he has done, he might take that better and he might actually go in and score a goal. You don't know.
He might, but he hasn't played a lot of football because he's not been fit. And when he is fit enough to play,
he's not been getting
out his arse.
Well, he's not been getting in either.
No, but as I'm saying, because of the lack of football, he's blown out his arse after 45 minutes when he starts.
Aye. I think he would have been better coming off the bench yesterday, to be fair.
Yeah, and I also think this might be controversial, but you shouldn't have started Callum McGregor. If the guy isn't ready to play 90 minutes, he shouldn't be starting football matches.
He only lasted about 60 minutes, didn't he, or whatever it was, 65.
And I think if he had come on after an hour, that might have given you a lift.
I know.
And even if it was 1-0 at that time, Celtic might get back in the game because they got a lift, they maybe got a control of the game.
Aye. Yep.
But instead you're bringing on players who aren't game changers or aren't... Forrest, I'll exclude Forrest, right, because Forrest is somebody that lifts those around him. But the other subs are not going to... McCowan's not going to lift those around him. He's going to run a bit. That's all he is.
Do you know what?
And I felt the Hatate to right back was just stupid.
That's what I was just about to say. I mean, what was all that about? He's got Ralston on the bench, who is a right back. I know he's not the greatest, but...
Well, I was okay with taking off Donovan for McCowan, right?
Aye. But I
If
thought,
they
see,
were
when he done
going
that,
3-5-2
that's what I thought he was
or
doing.
something, or a combination, because you could have just put Maid up top with. You probably could have put. You could have put McCowan close to him, or
Aye.
was Negrin still on? You could have put Negrin right up top,
But when I saw
or you
that,
could have
he's
brought
another one.
Adamu on at that point.
Negrin's another one who should have been on the bench and come off the bench because he's better when he comes off the bench as well.
But we said that, but Tannadice, but he offered hee-haw yesterday when he came on.
That's right. And Chamberlain was rotten when he came on as well.
I do give Tannadice a wee bit of leeway yesterday, because I do think players like him do need a good surface. I reckon a player like him needs. Not,
Maybe
it
even
doesn't need a
Chamberlain.
bowling green, right? But
Chamberlain's probably never played in a pitch like that either.
I don't know. There are some shite ones that even in the lower leagues when he's came,
Aye.
when he's came through, and even in Turkey, I don't think all the pitches are great. But all I would say is that Celtic just seemed to. Martin O'Neill got a lot of things wrong yesterday, and I think we're too often to praise him because he is a Celtic legend and he's came in under difficult circumstances. But I think there's a few times now I've noticed that his subs haven't been great. They've maybe had the opposite. I mean, the ones at Ibrox were brilliant, so he can get it right.
Oh, yeah, of course, aye.
But then you look at the subs in the cup game. Is any sub in that cup game, did any of them help you? I don't think they did. I think they got you further away from Rangers. I know he's went on to win on penalties, right? But no player, like Mvuka came on and looked like a lost little boy.
Aye. But did he not bring on, he brought on Chamberlain, didn't he?
In the cup game. I know a couple of them scored penalties, right?
He scored, well, that obviously contributed to his winning. I don't mind
maybe
that.
In the penalties. I meant in terms of changing the
game
match or the pattern, right? Because when you make a sub, right, it's not looking forward to, in an hour here we might be able to scrape penalties. Maybe if you make a sub in extra time, you're thinking about penalties. But you're not thinking about that with half an hour to go. You're thinking about how can I win this game? How can I change the flow of this game? And all of the Celtic subs that day did not.
No,
I mean, if anything, it got more one-sided. And I'm just using that as an example. I've noticed a few games where, like Kilmarnock, it worked. The subs at halftime changed the game.
Oh, completely.
But the ones against Hibs after the red card, I thought.
They were a bit.
I know you were down to 10 men, but some of the subs were baffling because that's the point. Down to 10 men, where you go maybe 3 at the back, tuck Tierney in maybe, and go 3 at the back and try to get an extra body forward. But
I brought that comment up earlier. I don't know. I can't remember what you said, but that came up earlier. Obviously, that's the one comment we've got.
Well, Celtic did get pumped by the Tangerines, although they were definitely more like Arabs yesterday in that sandpit. But do you know what the thing is? No matter what side you're on, you're always gonna take a bit of laughter when the other side fails. But there's so many twists and turns. And what I would say is, I heard a stat today, right? That was match day 31, right?
Aye.
Right. How many match days do you think Rangers, Celtic, and Hearts have all won?
What one?
On the same weekend.
On the same weekend, this season. I don't know, 4 maybe 5.
1.
They've only won. Is that right?
Yeah, in January, Celtic beat Dundee United at home. Hearts then went and beat Dundee with a 1-0 win away. Remember where Gordon made that save?
Aye.
And then Rangers went and beat Aberdeen in a blustery, gaily Aberdeen. Remember, the weather was terrible and we won. I think we won 2-0. That's the only weekend. All right. So I was expecting that there won't be more twists and turns. Well, the evidence would suggest there will.
before we move away from the Celtic game, I obviously, I don't know if this is true, but I heard today that Julian Araujo is back down at Bournemouth.
Yes.
He's recuperating there. Some injury that he's picked up, I don't know what it is. And there's rumours going about that he might not play for Celtic again. And I'm like, can he be that bad an injury, surely? What the hell happened? Because we've not been told it. And as again, communication for the club is absolutely terrible.
I suppose you just need to think, though, that we are what... But in saying that, potentially if you've got a cup final, that's 2 months today in terms of the 23rd. So
I know.
unless it's like 8 weeks, then you'd expect it maybe.
But then
to
you'd
be
have thought
back.
they'd have told us about
Aye.
the injury as well. I mean, how bad is it? What kind of
As you
injury is
said,
it?
communication at Celtic don't really go well together.
It's minging. The same thing happened with the Schmeichel thing. I mean, we knew he was bad, but I mean, he's come out and told everybody live on TV rather than Celtic coming out and telling their supporters that, by the way, he's not going to play again.
I have to say, before we go on to the title race and the where we stand with the 2 games before the split, do you think that Celtic should change their formation to find a way to attack better? Because they're attacking.
I think so. I think they should play 2 strikers.
Would you go 3-5-2?
Probably.
See, I think I would be Celtic because I would go
with Trusty in the middle, and I would.
I'm only mentioning it because if Araujo is out injured, then just go 3 at the back.
I would have Trusty in the middle, and I would have Scales on one side, on the left, obviously, and on the right, I would have Benji Arthur.
Yeah, and I think some games where maybe you're at home, you could maybe put Tierney in the back for you.
And what we could do, well, what I was going to say,
I'm just saying that
Tierney for me could play as a left wing back or winger because he could play one up, and you could have. I mean, I know he can't play the full 90 minutes, but James Forrest.
You'd probably start Yang though, because he can do the right wing back.
But I think Forrest probably could have been brought on a bit earlier than what he was yesterday. He was brought on far too late to influence the game. And then up front, obviously, I would still go with Maeda as a striker. I don't know why, but
no, because he actually looked like I think I heard this somewhere. Because of that pitch, he looked like a drunk guy chasing a balloon. And honestly, I couldn't have put it any better myself. Because
then it's not working up there for him, is it? Really? I mean,
but he can't. His first touch is terrible on a good pitch. So that pitch certainly made it worse. But no, I would probably go with Adamu and Chivanchira and see if you can get anything out the little and large. And then I thought you said
Iheanacho as well, didn't you?
But then I'd maybe use Iheanacho as a sub because he can only do half an hour. And then maybe Maeda with him, just like swap the 2.
Yeah.
But, I don't think Celtic will change it. If I'm honest,
I want them to, but I don't think they will.
I think they're too stubborn.
And the thing is, Martin must realise it's not working. So see if it's not working, you need to change it.
Do you know the thing is, I remember the Rangers fan media, right? I said to Russell Martin earlier in the season, we don't look coached. And I have to say, Celtic don't look coached.
No, we've not.
And I'm not saying that Martin O'Neill does the coaching. I suppose that probably more falls on Maloney and following him.
Well, even under Nancy, we weren't getting coached properly.
But see, in terms of Nancy, though, like, you were creating chance after chance after chance.
Well, what I will say
unfortunately, they're all falling to Johnny Kenny.
What I'll say about the thing about Johnny Kenny is, see if he was an upgraded striker to a better class of striker, the chances we were creating, we probably would have scored a lot more goals, and we probably wouldn't have lost as many games under Nancy. But
at the same time, you could also argue that if Johnny Kenny was in the team now,
I don't know. Well, he's obviously away. He's obviously away because he wasn't good enough.
Wait, do you honestly think, on the basis that you've seen Adamu, is he any better?
No, but like Johnny Kenny is apparently our striker, the striker with the most goals that we've got at our club. He's still
your top goal scorer.
6 goals he scored, and I think Iheanacho scored 3.
2 penalties. I know they still count.
I know. And
Chivanchira scored 2, 1 penalty.
One was a penalty. Well, 3 technically if you count the game. I know you don't count that, but they put your shootout penalty. But
because I'm not getting money, Oxlade Chamberlain either. So,
but they still count.
No, they don't count. But I'm just saying, as a striker,
so if you'd have won the game, the penalties wouldn't have counted. Then
Tannadice doesn't count. I don't count. It's not doesn't count an old firm goal, does it?
So does that mean that Yangs doesn't count because we never won that game either?
No, Yangs counts because it was a proper goal in a real game. But your penalty goals don't count in a penalty shootout. They don't. They just don't count.
So
they count in the moment.
They don't count a penalty shootout, but they count in a game.
Yeah, but they don't count towards your goal tally.
But they should.
But they just don't.
Do you not think it's a bit stupid that they don't know? It's still a goal you've scored, isn't it? Whether it's a penalty or a
I think the likes of Chris Boyd, Ali McCoy, Senator Larson would probably agree with you and say they should because it bumps up your numbers. But no, I don't. I just don't see it. But what I would say is, I think it brings us on to the we've all got 2 games left, right?
Before the split, yep.
Before the split. How do you see them going? So I think next week, 2 weeks, Rangers play first, home to Dundee United.
Right.
Which gives Rangers an opportunity to actually go top of the league.
I know, also extend the lead there, Celtic as well. I know.
But it then puts the pressure onto Hearts and Celtic on the Sunday. I think Celtic again play last this time. Sorry, we do it the week after. But
so what time's your game at on the Sunday then? If it's
4:30.
Oh, God's sake.
And I think Livy Hearts is at 2.
See these kickoff times. I mean, the one yesterday, I know.
They're doing it to they're doing it to
nonsense.
Because Sky don't have the FA Cup. It's an FA Cup week, so they're trying to big up the Scottish title race.
But they only do it when they feel like it. I'm not interested in Scottish football, really.
I know we'll do our predictions near the time because we'll know kind of where injuries, things like that, where things are at, because players could get injured in international duty. But right now, I think Rangers will beat Dundee United. Probably not comfortably, but they'll beat them. I think Hearts will sneak another win against Livingston. Or they could draw, because Livingston are good at home. Mm-hmm. They're still, I mean, for draws, they won't win the game. Mm-hmm. But they could get a draw. And I think Celtic, I know they've lost 3 times in Dundee.
I think we'll win against
I don't think they'll lose 4.
No,
but again, I don't see it being comfortable. I think
it won't be comfortable. We'll probably just drag it out of the line.
And then that takes you into the match day 33, where Celtic and Hearts play at the same time on the Saturday. You've got home to St Mirren. They've got home to Motherwell. See, I think you'll beat St Mirren. I actually think they'll lose to Motherwell. Not because I just think Motherwell. No, like Rangers have struggled against certain teams because it just stylistically it doesn't work.
Aye.
I think Motherwell are all wrong for Hearts. I actually think Motherwell are Hearts' 2 hardest games left, just in terms of the style.
Play them twice,
because with Rangers, you know, it's just going to be a battle. It's going to be corners. It's going to be set pieces. It's going to be who gets the wee break of the ball on the day, right? Whereas Motherwell can keep the ball off Hearts for 2/3 of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Hearts kind of need 90 minutes to break teams down. And when you play Motherwell, you don't get 90 minutes.
Oh, you don't, because they're quite good on the ball.
That's where I think Hearts struggle, because just stylistically they don't get as much time. They don't have enough. Don't create as many chances because they're not going to be on the ball as much. So I could see them losing that one. Rangers Falkirk's a tricky one, because I think any other weekend I would say a draw, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that Falkirk's eyes will be on that League Cup, Scottish Cup semi.
Yeah.
The week later, and I think Rangers will beat Falkirk by the odd goal. But I only think that because of the Scottish Cup match. Because I just think they'll have wrapped up top 6 by then.
They're obviously going to put all their eggs into that basket.
And I don't blame them. I don't think they'll play a weakened team. I'm just saying that when you're going in for a 50-50, 6 days before a cup semi-final at Hampden, where some of those players might not play at Hampden again,
I know,
do you go all in? No, you probably don't.
Probably don't.
And by the way, whoever's playing Dunfermline in the Championship that weekend will have the same type story, because the Dunfermline players will be like, "Oh, we might not get to play at Hampden again." You know, we need, and that'll also happen.
They're a Championship side as well. You normally find it's a Premier League team that make it to the cup final most times. I mean, on the odd occasion you get a Championship team.
All I'm saying is that if those results all happened, right, Rangers would be on. So Rangers would be on 72 points. Hearts would be on. No, wait a minute. Let me just double check actually, just to make sure I get it right. Celtic would get 6. Yeah. So if the results happen, right, Rangers would be on 69 points. Hearts would be on 69 points with a worse goal difference, just assuming, obviously, if they lose a game.
Right.
And Celtic would be on 67 points. So now, you telling me that Celtic are out the title race? Now, I know that it's harder to be
At the
behind
minute,
two teams.
At the minute, I'd say we are.
At the minute, yeah, but I'm just saying if those results happen, all of a sudden it twists and turns again.
I know, I just can't see it.
Do you know the only thing I
can't
can't
see
see
Hearts
is
losing
Celtic?
because they've not really lost that many.
Yeah, but they've lost 5 games. Celtic have lost
like
8.
it. I know.
They have. They've lost to. I mean, they've lost the last 3 away games.
We lost. What was it?
I mean,
5.
they've lost to
We
Kilmarnock.
lost 5 league games under Wilfred Nancy. If we hadn't have lost 5
Well,
games,
didn't lose 5. Was it? No, it wasn't 5 league games you lost.
Aye.
It was only 4.
No, wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. I'm trying to think. We won 2, didn't we?
Aye.
We won 2.
He's lost to Rangers. He's lost to Motherwell. He's beat Aberdeen. He's beat Livingston. He's lost to Dundee United. And then he's lost cup games. And he's lost to Hearts. That was it. It was Hearts.
The first game. First game.
So he lost 4.
But that's a lot of points.
Yeah,
that's 12 points.
Yeah, but Brendan Rodgers also lost 2 games. Martin Hill's lost 2 games.
I know, but
I know, and
Rangers
and Rangers have only lost 2 all season.
I still think if Martin
O'Neill
would have been allowed to continue
after
getting as close to Hearts.
That I can agree with. I think it probably should have stayed. I don't think that
him coming in's completely derailed their season.
Like I don't think we could. But then at the same time, though, it was probably the only time this season where he's played some good football.
But under Nancy?
Mm-hmm. Attacking wise. Defensively, he's shambolic.
There was no defence.
No. But if you look at that first half against Rangers, he's were excellent.
Aye.
You look at that first half against Dundee United, excellent.
But yet again, we did say if we've got a competent striker, the score,
but
the chances we create, he scores about 2 or 3 goals, maybe.
Do you think, in hindsight, though, that if Wilfred Nancy had come in the summer, right?
What, this summer?
Last summer and got a whole pre-season, do you think it would have been a bit like Askew, though, that he'd have had short-term pain and then it would have turned good? Or do you think just no?
I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
See, I don't know.
We'll never know.
I felt at the time you had to get rid of him because it was terrible, right?
Oh, it was
because you were hemorrhaging points.
Too bad.
But
it's too bad.
Now that I look at it with a bigger picture and I see that Brendan Rodgers' team didn't play very well. Martin Hill's team haven't played very well. Yes, they were better at picking up points. Can't argue with that. But I don't think that. I think some of your best football was actually under Nancy, which is just crazy.
It's mental to think that. It really
is.
Whereas
with Rangers, none of our good football was under Russell Martin.
I mean, we played well against Livingston. We just conceded. We beat them 4-2, but that was a crazy first 10 minutes of that game where every time they attacked and we attacked, we scored. It was just mental.
Whereas you looked at Rangers under Russell Martin, we lost points because we weren't good going forward. We were actually fairly solid. In fact, we've been fairly solid all season defensively. Yes, under Russell Martin, we played a wee bit too much of a high line, and we by the way, better teams would have killed us off. But maybe the standard of teams that he came across in his games, because I think Rangers had quite a favourable start to the season in terms of some of your easier teams at home, you know.
But you were drawn against them, though.
We were drawn, but then what I'm saying is better teams would have probably won those games.
Yeah, aye.
So I do think that Rangers only losing 2 games this season, it is slightly masked by the 12 draws.
Aye, loads of draws, aye.
It is, but... And that's the thing, like people going with Rangers going, right, that's just 9 games, win the league, 8 games, win the league, 7 games, win the league.
That's what knackered
you really
Tommy
see
Burns.
Rangers winning 6 or 7 games in a row? I
don't know. But that's what knackered Tommy Burns in that season.
They were a good team, though.
95-96 season, we had far too many draws that season.
But you played good football.
We only lost 1 league game.
The problem is that even though I felt you were too... I felt he's conceded too much.
Aye.
Even though he didn't lose the games, what you didn't, not Nancy levels are crazy, but he didn't have the right balance at that time. Whereas there's other managers where you just weren't very good going forward, but you were quite solid. I remember the one season Rangers must have beat Celtic like 1-0 3 times, and Celtic were the better team in probably all of those games. And you know,
usually happened.
And it did, and it often happened like a big Richard Goff header or McCoy's spot man.
A goal or something,
Right. But then, do you know what? You'll probably remember the reverse of that was, do you remember under Stratton where you won like 7 in a row, or even Martin O'Neill? There was games there where Rangers dominated you, and we lost 1-0 because Sutton scored a worldie in the last minute one time.
Aye.
Or, you know,
the cup final when Julian scored the goal, and when Morelos obviously gets his penalty saved by Fraser Foster.
Yeah, and there was that day. I remember Rangers winning 1-0 against Celtic where Eddie scored late on. We were terrible that day. Absolutely terrible. And Celtic dominated the football most of the game, but it was just, you know, it's just football's like that. And what I would say though is, I think 80 points is the magic number. What we all need to win the league. Now, obviously, Celtic can get 82, Rangers can get 84, Hearts can get 87, but, you know, by the time of the split, the numbers will be all changed, and we don't know what you can get. And I still think there'll be more twists and turns, because that stat I said earlier, that stat says that we've only all won one time.
Aye.
Now, I do think that, and let's be honest, will that stat improve? Because there's a likelihood that we're going to play each other on, you know, on at least 3 of those match days.
Aye.
In fact, four of them.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
So 4 of the 7 match days we're going to play each other. So
there will be points dropped in as well. Aye.
Yeah. So there's only 3 more opportunities to change that stat, and I wouldn't put money on it. Like, especially for instance, right? Rangers had to go to Falkirk. You had to go to Easter Road, and Hearts had to play Motherwell. I wouldn't be expecting us all to win. You know, so there's going to be loads of. I mean, as we've said before, this is going to be a low points total, a low. I don't want to sound harsh, but a low standard of winner in terms of quality.
Aye.
Not in terms of deserving it. Anyone who wins a league deserves it. No one can ever take that away. Leagues are over 38 games. The winner always deserves it. But I don't think that the winner of this league is going to be a particularly good team. And
the annoying thing for me is that we went on that run there of games where we played Aberdeen, we played Hughes twice, and then we'd Motherwell, and we'd never lost any of the games. And then to basically come through that and to get to the game yesterday and just completely obliterate it just annoyed me.
Rangers did that too, though. They went over Christmas and New Year where they beat Celtic, we beat Hearts, and we managed to draw with Livingston and draw with let's be honest, a poor Hibs. Like, and don't get me wrong, we can all accept a draw at Easter Road, but it's. I mean, if Rangers hadn't drawn to Livingston, you know, or just if Rangers could have converted some of those draws into wins, would be miles clear. Just like you're saying, Hughes would be miles. If Hughes hadn't appointed Nancy, he could be miles clear.
That's right.
But the fact is, we're not, because none of us are good teams. But someone is going to win it. We just don't know who.
Somebody has to win it.
I've got to say, and this might sound a wee bit harsh as well, but if Rangers or Hearts don't win it, it's a poor indictment on the league if Celtic do win it, because this is the worst Celtic team I've ever seen.
Well, if we win it, well, put it this way, for me, if and for a Celtic perspective, if we win it, it'll be the sweetest league win ever, because obviously the way we are.
And by the way, you'll celebrate it just like the one you won by 21 points, right?
Of course, aye.
But you would have to be honest to yourself and say that, you know, this is a poor Celtic team. And if Rangers or Hearts don't do it now, when will they do it? You know?
I know. Yeah, there's a comment from @Tone70. Going on previous crashing bottles and winning them.
I agree. Required. Rangers and Hearts have not shown that they can win a title. Celtic have, but I think we can all agree though that all 3 of these teams, when the pressure's been on, their bottles all crashed. And you have to include Celtic in that.
I agree with the comment, but because
I do.
Celtic have been out of the course before and they know what's required. It's just
this Celtic team
that they didn't win yesterday.
This Celtic team don't look capable though.
No.
I mean, I don't think even the greatest Celtic fan can honestly look at their team right and say that they think they'll win 7 games.
I know.
I think Celtic will lose 10 games this year. I
You think
you'll
we'll
lose
lose in the
another
last 2
two.
games?
Probably.
I bloody hope no.
Well, do you honestly, would you put it this way, right? If Dundee
Well, if we
United can
play the
do
way we
that to
did
you,
yesterday, we
aye,
will.
then Motherwell will definitely spank you at Fir Park. And would you be that surprised if you drop something at Dens if you play with that same attitude?
Well, no.
But by the way, and do I think that Rangers are just remarkably going to become a winning team now? A team that's drawn 12 times will continue to draw. We've got to be honest. And Hearts have lost the last 3 away games. They've lost at Ibrox, they've lost at St Mirren, they've lost at Kelly. Ibrox fair dues, right? But Kelly and St Mirren are the 10th and 11th worst team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, not second worst, you know what I mean? But the second and third worst team.
Well, Hearts' bottle might go on.
So,
They might, because obviously they're getting
all
to
I'm
the
saying
kind of
is,
the nitty-gritty.
I fully expect us all to drop more points.
I hope we don't, but
But
the way we
look,
played
you will
yesterday,
though. I mean, that's the fact.
I know the way we played yesterday. I can't guarantee. Well, nobody, we can't guarantee it that Celtic are going to do that.
But all I'm saying is, Celtic, as I said earlier, if Rangers beat Hearts, right, and you beat Falkirk or whoever you play that weekend, you're 2 points off the top, and then it's in your own hands. All you need is Hearts to drop points in one game, and it's in your hands. Obviously, you don't want it to be the one that you play them because you want to use that to overtake them. I'm the same. I want them to drop points to Motherwell, so when we play them, we can go ahead of them. And we're probably all looking at that, and you're probably looking at Rangers going, right, as long as we stay within 2 points.
And we also need to beat ourselves when we play you at Celtic Park.
And that's something you haven't done since, the start of 24-25. So I think they've all got problems, all 3 squads. Celtic, as the comment made, certainly have more
experience.
Been there, done it. But right now, I would say that Celtic probably have the least momentum.
But the thing that's kind of, I mean, we've had a right bad luck this season with injuries. It's the worst season I can remember for injuries we've ever had.
I'll just take you back to the season that Van Bronckhorst against Postecoglou. Now, your team was good, right? But we were ravaged with injuries that year. Do you remember we had to play James Sands and Leon King at centre-back for 3 months? I mean, that was why we got embarrassed so badly. Not we would have lost in the Champions League anyway, right? But
you
not
talk about
to
the Liverpool game.
But not to end. But we were losing games to St Johnstone, St Mirren, because we were playing with just terrible players, and it was injuries. I mean, I've never seen a run like that. And Celtic have had a bad year this year.
That for me, this is just it's a one-off. It can't happen consistently like that.
No, it didn't. I think the year after Rangers, I don't think we got a centre-back injury. But that year we got 5 injuries at centre-back, and we were playing a centre-mid and a kid. It happens. But I don't think Celtic or Rangers can ever really complain about injuries with the money they have and the squads they have. Because Celtic could have went out and spent some of their gazillion pounds that they have in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not familiar chasing, but...
No, it's not.
They have been there and done it.
We're not used to that. We're not used to that.
No, but I honestly, I don't think there's a favourite right now. I don't. I think they're all equally as likely to drop points as win games.
Aye.
Hearts obviously have a slight advantage just in terms of the points. But as you said, you can make a case for other teams. You can say that Celtic are the most experienced. You could probably say that Hearts have got the points. And I think there's an argument to be made that Rangers probably have, I don't want to say the best squad of players, but they probably have maybe the biggest squad. And so you can make a case for all of them. But as we've said in previous pods, if Rangers or Celtic win the league, they're going to have done it without a striker.
Aye, and it's going to be the craziest thing ever. Aye.
I mean, I can't believe that none of us have a striker with 10 goals.
I can't believe Negrin scored the amount of goals he scored. Because basically that's what he does. He does nothing else.
Yeah. Well, we don't even have that. We don't have a player that's scoring goals. I mean, we've got Raskin scored 6. I mean, that's not Negrin level. He's a better player than Negrin, but he's not. No patch on his goals.
Certainly
But you know what though? All it's going to take is one goal to get you over the line with a title. I mean,
that's it.
Essentially, right? Celtic needs 7 goals to win the league. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you're going to get 7 1-0 wins, right? But on
to be honest, I would take that. I would take that.
On paper, that's what you need. So, like, we're talking all this about strikers no scoring, but you know, Fernandes could get one, Tav could get a penalty. You know, for Celtic, McGregor could score a long ranger. Negrin will get a goal. You know, you wouldn't be surprised if James Forrest got his annual goal.
No, but he's already scored this season.
Did he score early?
He scored in a game, in the Aberdeen game, when Nancy was the manager. So he's already scored.
Oh, so he did. That was the one where they were down to 10 men for about a year.
We ended up,
and then they scored
for about a year.
No, but it felt like that as a opposition team who was. But no, but in Celtic somehow managed to lose a goal at 10 men. Well, that was Nancy though.
Well, it was Nancy. Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm just saying though, like you can pick 7 players at Celtic who could grab a goal. You know, that aren't strikers. Like Maeda is not a real striker, but he'll probably pop up with one.
He plays up front for Japan. He doesn't play on the wing for Japan.
I don't know why he plays up front for Japan.
But he does. He plays up front.
There's got to be a better option in the whole of Japan. There's fucking millions of them. Like there's got to be a better striker than him. I mean, he can't trap a ball. I mean, he runs like an absolute beast. His pace is brilliant.
He's got tremendous stamina, and
oh my god,
his pressing is fantastic.
Yeah, but his first touch is just it's embarrassing. But by the way, we've all had players like that. Lovenkrantz was exactly like that. Sometimes I just want to just kick on the arse and go, do you know how to trap a ball? You ever heard of first touch? His first touch was a 6-yard pass. But but no, all I'm saying though is that I don't think Rangers or Celtic will need a striker to win the league. But I don't think they can win next year without one.
No, definitely not.
This would always be an anomaly to go through a season like this without a striker.
We need a major clear out and a rebuild in the summer.
Celtic, but you need a clear out from top to bottom. I mean, you need a new manager, a director of football, a chairman, a board,
chief exec.
Yeah, and that's not to start with the overhaul of that squad that needs to be done. Whereas Rangers, to be fair to them, probably just need I don't think we need a whole squad, but we need to sort our centre backs, get a goal scoring midfielder, and invest in some strikers who know what that big white bit is where you need to shoot to.
Because I would say that some of the players that are in the team now, are in the squad as well, have they've what do you call it? They've came to the end of their cycle.
Oh, absolutely. Like players like Hatati.
I'd say even Scales should be gone or not.
Yeah.
Scales probably should never have been in there in the first place. He only got in because of injuries to other people.
No, but he's a good squad player to have.
He's all right, but he's not the best.
No, he's not a starter. It's like Suter with Rangers. He's just not a starter. I'm happy to see him as third choice.
Aye.
Providing that you've got 2 better ones to start the big games. I think if you're home to Dundee, I've got no problem with a John Suter playing or a William Scales playing.
You need 2 decent players for every position.
And you need Scots or Irishmen or Northern Irishmen or Englishmen. You need British players who get your clubs. And you're always going to need them, but you need quality in front of them.
You do get the odd decent foreigner that comes in, though.
Oh, absolutely. But I do think that Celtic and Rangers really lack a Scottish identity.
Aye. Well, we used to have it with quite a lot of our players, but it's not happening now, is it?
But I think obviously with this being international, we'll probably pause this till next Monday. We'll come on and we'll talk about the Scotland. I think we've got Japan on Saturday. That'll be fun.
And then the Ivory Coast. Yep.
Is that Tuesday?
I think so.
Aye. But we'll just talk about the Japan game. We'll maybe briefly talk ahead about that, and then we'll obviously do a preview for the weekend after that. But I have a good one. And thanks everyone for obviously commenting and viewing, and obviously there's going to be 7 more fun weekends of this. Watching one of us be depressed, both of us depressed. Who knows? It depends how it ends, but it'll certainly be a fun journey to get there anyway.
God, I don't know.
But actually, I'm looking forward to
your idea of fun. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the Scotland games just to get a break.
Well, I'm not a big fan of international breaks, but
Oh,
to be honest,
you'll be struggling this one. You've got 2 big games for Italy. Well,
I know exactly.
hopefully 2.
Aye,
You need to beat
hopefully.
Northern Ireland on Thursday. That'll be tough.
That's right. Well, hopefully.
I think as
get the
well though,
victory.
but the tough ones against Wales away though, that'd be tough. But we'll see.
Aye.
We'll see.
Cheers, Tone 78.
Yep, and as I said, we normally do these every Friday and Monday.
Yep.
But it'll just be the following Monday, just so we can review the Scotland game. Because,
as you said, if it's the first time you came across it, and if you like it, then subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified when we go live and all that kind of stuff, and like and comment on the videos.
If you're any Celtic fans watching, I'm sure to enjoy me greeting towards the end of the season if we fail, and Rangers fans will be enjoying Lorenzo greeting if they fail, and Hearts fans will be enjoying us both greeting. But let's just see how it goes.
Aye, okay.
Cool. Right, we'll leave it there, and I'll see you next week.
Right, cool. Thanks again.
Right,
cheers.
bye.
See you later, everyone. Bye.